Welcome to the quarterly podcast of TRUSTS, Trusted Secure Data Sharing Space, an innovation action funded by the EU Commission's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme. Today's interview partner is Antragama Abbas. He is a PhD researcher at Delft University of Technology. His PhD research objective is to design data governance mechanisms for business data sharing in data marketplace meta platforms. He will explore whether data governance will reduce data providers' risk of losing control over their data or not. Within TRUST, he supports the consortium in developing a pan-European data market, focusing on business models and data governance aspects. Welcome, Antragama.
Thank you, Nina, for having me today in your podcast.
Welcome. And before we start with the interview, I would like to give the listeners who are with us for the first time a short outline what TRUST is all about. So TRUST aims at creating a secure and trustworthy European data market, as well as a platform federator for personal and industrial use by interconnecting different user groups. Thus, it should be providing generic functionalities for innovative applications and services. Business models and data governance aspects are essential to platform commercialization beyond the development phase. Antragama and his colleagues from TU Delft are responsible for developing and evaluating sustainable business models for trusts. In addition, he is also responsible for developing data governance aspects, focusing on data stewardship supports to ease the onboarding of potential data providers. Dear Antragama, you have studied 137 academic articles on data markets and structured your analysis following the STOF model, which means Service, Technology, Organization, Finance model. What is your motivation to conduct the study and why did you choose the STOF model?
Thank you, Nina, for the question. Actually, we really believe in the potential of data markets. But at the moment, when we see it from the practical perspective, we have seen the trend that data market generally remain conceptual and hardly commercially exploited. Then we want to connect this phenomenon to the academic setting. And then we're really surprised that a study that provides a comprehensive overview of data market research doesn't exist yet. So we simply have no clear understanding about the knowledge gap in this data market research. Specifically, we lack of understanding of whether the current research is lacking on topics that would advance data market toward commercialization. As it stands, it may well that academic research is focusing on topic that does not help to resolve the problem in data market commercialization. And then to evaluate this assertion, we conduct this study. And you also ask why STOF model, right? Basically, STOF model is a business model framework to help you to convey your service toward commercialization. So with STOF model, we want to structure our discussion how the study can help data market to move from the first stage, platform design, to the second stage, platform commercialization.
I see. That sounds very interesting and exciting. So far, what were your key findings from this analysis?
And then we see and we analyze the literature in data market, and then we find that the data market literature is primarily dominated by technical research, such as discussion about computational pricing and also architecture. There are a lot, but we argue that to move from the first stage, which is platform design, to the second stage, which is the platform adoption, we call for more empirical research in non-technical areas, because, for instance, little attention has been paid to the topics categorized in the service domain in the STOF model. Based on the business model area, this domain is essential and should be the starting point for data market to be commercially exploited. Yes, we have seen some topics such as discussion in the value proposition, but there's not too many. And many other topics I will mention. Some topic, for example, customer expected value, market segmentation, have barely been discussed in the academic setting.
Okay, I see. Where do you personally see the most relevant open aspects of research on data markets that would be necessary on a non-technical side?
Okay, this is really interesting question, Ina. If I can connect with Trust project, which really aim to interoperable with other data market, I would like to mention one topic, which is value networks. This is one of the primary topics that we need to work on. I think yes, value network is one of the keyword in this area.
I see. Okay, when you talk about value networks, can you elaborate on why this aspect, which seems to be ignored oftentimes, is so important?
Yes, value network in the simplest term describe the actors and their interaction. And it is essential to understand the dynamic to align their vision by developing arrangement to achieve the common goal. It is significant for trust because we also need to interact and also interoperable with other data market operators. For example, the big question, how do we share our vision with them? How do we incentivize and attract them to onboard on trust? So this is still ongoing research within our team.
Okay, I see. So thank you very much for those explanations. An additional aspect I would like to talk about with you is the business model taxonomy for data markets you are also working on within the frame of the project. Could you kindly give our listeners a little bit information on what this means and which benefits you expect for the project TRUSTS as well as for the European data economy?
Sure, Nina, thank you for your question. Actually, this work relates to the trust work deliverable in 7.1, which is sustainable business model for trust data marketplaces. And this work also has been published in the proceeding of a conference. So the taxonomy is relevant because we need to know what kind of data markets that trust platform will federate or interoperable with. In this study, we argue that data markets are vastly different, so taxonomy can be used to classify data markets. So our final taxonomy comprised of 4 meta dimension, 17 business model dimension, and 99 business model characteristic. You can see the detail on the paper. And why this is relevant, because we identify the viable business model of that work in practice. So this can be a foundation for our community, for example, the trust project, that we can consider these business model elements to develop the functioning data markets in the future. Thus, we can contribute to fulfilling the European data economic vision in a broader context.
Okay, that sounds very comprehensible. Why it is relevant. So throughout the interview, I've recognized that you mentioned interoperability various times. Could you kindly elaborate on why interoperability is such an important aspect within trust?
Actually, this is an interesting question, Ina. So I think interoperability is one of the trust vision. It is one of our value proposition within trust that distinguish ourselves with other data markets. So the idea is possible that we also interact with other data markets. Why we have this vision? Because we have seen the trend that too many domain-specific data market exist. For example, silos in the nation or silos very specific in the industry domain, focusing in only one aspect. And then why don't we bring them together and we can grow the user base? So the idea is, can we interoperable with the others to grow the user base, to make it more functioning and make it more trustable? So we try it, and this is one of the trust vision.
Okay, thank you. With this, we are already at the end of our short quarterly podcast. I thank you a lot for your time and those very interesting explanations. I'm looking very forward to further working with you in this project. So thank you, Antragama.
Yeah, thank you, Nina, also for inviting me. Looking forward also to work with you in the future. Yeah.
Thank you. And I would also like to thank our listeners for keeping up with our project progresses. And yeah, make sure to follow us on our channels, make sure to follow the progress of Trust, and make sure to follow up on Europe's innovations. Thank you all.